This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have the top 16 cut for Carta Magica's in-person regional at Animate North this past weekend. There are just over 100 players and 7 rounds for the tournament with this top 16 that we have for you to get today. So thank you so much to Carta Magica for giving me the list to give to you guys. As well, if you guys do enjoy these videos, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. But we do have I'd say, more generous top 16 than we've had for the past couple of weeks. Of course, there is Blue Hybrid at the top number for, the 7 of the 16 and getting the first place, but we also have 3 Imperialdramon, 2 Ancient Grey OTK, 1 Green Hybrid, 1 Blue MagnaHybrid, a DNA Armor, and a Yellow Hybrid as well. So honestly, it could be worse on the Blue Hybrid side. Again, I only had to input 7 of them this time compared to the 8 or 9 that we have for some of these Ultimate Cups. And something else to kind of mention too, that since this is a regional and in person, you do not have the luxuries of a mulligan in this format. Ultimate Cup is the only one with those mulligans. So that may also kind of change and decide how what a deck is doing and how good it is in a format. But we are just going to go over this top 16 by we're going to look at the best deck in each archetype going through, and we're going to start off with Kawai's first place Blue Hybrid. And to start today's Blue Hybrid rant, we do have Kawai's Blue Hybrid that got first place at this event. And again, nothing against Blue Hybrid players, but I do think obviously it is best deck in format. I think it's been shown pretty clearly over these past couple of weeks. It is very strong, and it's also pretty found out what the archetype is. Most of the cards in the decks are exactly the same, and the only difference is ratios to a minuscule point. So it's good. It is the best deck in the X2 format. I'll say it. And another, just a little anecdote too, we do have a good friend of mine and the stream, George Moniz. He was at this tournament. He has not played Digimon for 6 months, and he was just told, here, have this Blue Hybrid list, play in the event. And he got 8th place going X1 with Blue Hybrid after not playing, again, the game for 6 months. But shout outs to George for doing this. This is not like dragging his name through the mud, but it just shows just how good this deck is. It is just super, super strong. I think it is the best deck in the format. I don't think that there's going to be any contention with that from anyone who's playing. Obviously, there's ways to counter it, but a lot of them are just going hard counter against this specific deck and then having a lot of bad matchups against the other one. So not a surprise to me that it's doing well. Congrats to Kawai for your win here. Also, congrats to George. I hope that wasn't meant to talk bad about you, but just more of just say, like, yeah, if someone who's obviously a great player gets just the deck and plays it and goes X1 finishing top 8 out of the blue like that, I think that just shows, like, man, this may be approaching a tier 0 list, but it is super duper strong. So I did also want to mention the Magna version. So this is Simon's version here, is the Blue Magna Hybrid. And this is kind of I guess like one of the intended routes for the list as well. The kind of different changes is, one, they're all Stravimons here. You kind of want to be able to find your Koji, because your Koji lets you go into your Magna. You also do have like these kind of Garurumons, which, as long as you have a Digimon hybrid traits, are Koji in these sources against jamming. So it can also just go on top of any of these Stravimons. And this is nice. I really like this Stravimon too. If it has the inheritable, if this Digimon has hybrid or 10 warriors in this form or type, you get to gain 1 memory, which is nice, especially when you have like a Magna Garurumon have like a double swing. We also do have the Stravimon from BT7-2, where on deletion you can play 1 Koji from your hand without paying its memory cost. So there's some nice ways to go that. So you could go like here, you could digivolve into a Kendo, swing with it. It has jamming, so it's going to survive. And if your opponent tries to get rid of it, you get to play a Koji art, which is for from your hand for free, which is already just like having a tamer for free to do hybrid plays later is already worth it. And this can also go into your Magna Garurumon and kind of go from there. So I do this is a fun build. Obviously, it's different from the regular flavor of Blue Hybrid, so I did want to mention it. And congrats to Simon for your 6th place there. Next up, we do have Jeffrey's Imperialdramon, and this is a pretty standard list. Again, I think the most difference that a Imperialdramon list has is the ratios of your Vmons. That is usually the case for that. 4 Paildramons, 2 of the Dragon and the Fighter modes, 1 Magna or Leomon, depending on your flavor on it, 4 XVmons, 4 Stingmons, 1 or 2 Lydramons, and then a blue hybrid, either Lobomon or Kumamon is pretty standard. You run like 3 or 4 Labramons, especially since this is such a good way to gain memory. And then the Vmons that you think will get you to success, normally a combination of the Vmon on play. We do see some of this guy as well for the draw 1. We get the classic collection, I think, is a standard one too. I'd run this at 3 minimum, just because it does kind of act like a Labramon at times. And then also just your tamers, you have the Davises, you have the Megadeth, Hammer Spark, and just all the one-of goodies that blue and green can run. So pretty standard. I think Imperialdramon is pretty found out at this point too. And if it goes good, if it's strong, it's strong. And it's really hard to brick with this list at times too. There are ways to do it, but since you're dependent on having so many rookies in the first place, there's a lot of potential for just seeing this stuff. Especially like turn 1 Davis just means you win the game a lot of the time too, and it's so good. So congrats to Jeffery there on your Imperialdramon finish. And then next up we do have Dishan's green hybrid, and I will also compliment Dishan. Since we've had Russell get first place with his build of it, this has been the most successful list of green hybrid that I've seen that also changes up the ratios more than 1 or 2 copies. Like this, most decks I see are like 45 cards similar to Russell's at the minimum, if not straight up his build. So I do like the small changes here. This includes adding another Kalumon. This includes adding another Rapidmon. Instead of going Izzy Mimi, go with the Izzy Tamer. And then 2 green memory boosts, 3 Thunder Laser instead of the Santi. This is just a cheaper version of the Santi. It doesn't rest something from security effect, though, it just adds the hand. So that is kind of stinky, but you're almost always going to have a green hybrid, and it only costs 1, which is nice. And then for the top end, instead of running why am I forgetting its name? Shivamon. I don't know why that took so long to remember, but you are running the Grand Kuwagamon instead. So this is just great. You can Digivolve into it for cheap off the Rhino Kabuterimon. It does have Security Attack +1 and becomes a 15k, which means it can swing over most things on the when Digivolving effect there. Super duper nice, especially when you do have the Piercing from JP. So usually when I play this list, there are just some times where you do get some more swings, and the Ancient Beetlemon does do a lot by itself, but having the, doing just Security Attack +1 if your opponent doesn't have something that's rested to swing over, I think is a really good idea. Especially you're going to be 15k minimum with this guy, if not an 18k if you have a Kalumon out, and I think that's kind of nice. So really think this is a unique twist on it, and congrats to Dishan on their finish there. Next up, we do have Martin Lee's DNA Armor. And I'm a sucker for DNA Armor. It's one of my favorite builds, and it's what got me my regional finish last month. The kind of telltale signs are just having a bunch of these Vmons. Jamming Vmons at the top, I think, are really important, especially with something like if you go into like a Flamedramon and you just swing with it, and then just having jammings live, and you can go into Flamedramon afterwards, or go into Lydramon afterwards to save it, or just even like a Magnamon and you get the save there. Vmon is nice too on the classic collection, and then both of the top decks. You do go to kind of go into the BT8 one more here, just because it does look for multicolor cards, which you see a lot more of these, and it's on a top 4, so you get to dig a little bit deeper. But the free trait searching one, I think, is a good one as well. 1 Stingmon, all of the good armors here, and then we have a Lobomon, a Chimeramon, 3 Pyodramons, and 2 Shakulamons. So I like the build, and it looks like it's doing well. Adding the Megadeth as well, which I normally don't add to my builds just because I don't find room for it, but being able to get that off, I think, is really nice. Also, just having 4 of the Ken Davis as well as just 2 of the regular Davis, I think is interesting as well. So congrats again to Martin for this finish, and I really love this deck. I'm happy to see it got another top 16 finish. Next up, we do have James Truong's AncientGreymon OTK, and there were 2 of these for this event, so that's kind of interesting to see. It's normally just averages 1 per event, so having 2 just kind of brings that average up a little bit higher. Nothing too spectacular or different from the other builds that I've seen. Obviously, it's very kind of matchup dependent, but sometimes a lot of these matchups do not have the blocker or the Magnamon out to prevent you from just going off on this, especially since Leomon seems to be the more popular of the blockers for like Imperialdramon, or even like builds of Blue Hybrid as well. So you just do very, very well with lists like this if you have enough memory to not like change the turn off the Leomon. So really like AncientGreymon, I think, is good. I think it's going to trail off in the BT9 meta. I think there's going to be more decks that's doing what it wants to do, but better. But it is good to see something else finish in this top 16. So congrats to James there. And then the last deck we're going to talk about is Yellow Hybrid. There are some peculiar differences here. So we do have on the low end, we do have 4 of the Labramon. Of the inherited effect, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0, you get to draw 1. Normally, this is the Patamon from the star deck to gain the memory as well. So looking like Aiden's deciding to instead prioritize on that card draw. There's also just the Patamon that on play reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 yellow tamer among them to your hand, or sorry, add all yellow tamers, my apologies. So this can just add you like 2-3 cards, maximum 4 of course, to your hand and just really start your plays. So I think that's an interesting choice. Obviously it's a little bit slow for what the deck's trying to do, because you do have to pay 3 to just play this, and then you have to manually play the tamers from it, but I don't think it's a bad add. Obviously 4 Rapidmons from there to go on top of the Labramon, the regular hybrid trio here, and Ophanimon, Fall Down Mode, Susanimon, and then the kind of regular options of 4 Javelins, 3 Wyvern's Breath, 2 yellow memory boosts, and a reinforced memory boost with a 3-3-4-4 tamer breakdown. So pretty standard there as well. But Yellow Hybrid's been okay. I think it's been less and less favored as time's gone on, which I think is good for. I think a lot of people don't like playing against this list either, so I like the idea of it. And of course, it does the same kind of thing as Blue Hybrid, where sometimes if you just give them enough memory and they have enough tamers on board, you just kind of lose the game, which kind of feels bad. But that's going to be it. Congrats to Aiden for their top 16 finish, and that is the end of our breakdown today. So if you guys have made it this far into the video, you must like my content enough to get here, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, thank you so much to Carta for giving me these lists to give to you guys, and I'll catch you all next time.